The world was left in stunned silence. The colossal entities had vanished, but their message echoed in every mind. Judgment will come. Prepare. Panic spread like wildfire. Governments scrambled for answers. Scientists tried to analyze the energy signatures left behind. The media flooded the world with theories. Was this the end? A test? Or something far worse? In the White House bunker, Daniel sat frozen, his mind racing. What did judgment mean? Would Earth be destroyed, conquered, or spared? Dr. Wright was furiously typing on his console. We need to decode whatever data they left behind, he muttered. The president turned to the military leaders. I want full defense readiness. Every satellite, every missile, every contingency plan now. A general hesitated. Sir, against what? We don't even know what we're up against. Before anyone could respond, a loud alarm blared. An urgent message flashed across the bunker's screens. Deep space sensors detected an anomaly. Something was coming back. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. They're already here? The display flickered, showing a tear in space reopening, this time much closer. Not at the edge of the solar system, but just beyond the moon. The world watched in terror as a single, enormous structure emerged. Unlike the previous fleets, this was no warship. It was a construct of pure energy, pulsing with an otherworldly glow. It wasn't an invasion force. It was a tribunal. A new transmission rang across the planet. Earth, your trial begins now. The tribunal hovered in the void beyond the moon, its immense structure pulsing with unknown energy. Unlike the warships before, this was not built for battle. It was a monument of authority, a cosmic courtroom where the fate of entire civilizations was decided. A deep vibration rippled through Earth's atmosphere as the transmission continued. Your existence has been weighed against the balance. Your species stands at the precipice. In the White House bunker, every breath felt heavy. Daniel clenched his fists. What do they mean by balance? Dr. Wright's face was pale. They're judging whether humanity is a threat to the equilibrium of the universe. The president turned to the communications team. Can we respond? We can try, sir, but we don't know if they'll listen. A desperate decision was made. The world's greatest minds scrambled to compose a message, a plea for survival. Within minutes, Earth broadcasted a response. We are not your enemy. We seek understanding. Give us a chance to prove our worth. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the tribunal structure shifted, layers of glowing rings aligning into a single massive eye-like aperture. A new voice echoed, one that was neither mechanical nor organic. It resonated within every human mind. Your plea has been acknowledged. The trial will be conducted in 3 phases. The rings of the tribunal spun faster, forming 3 distinct sigils in the void. The first test, wisdom. A flash of golden light erupted from the structure, shooting toward Earth. Daniel barely had time to react before everything went white. And then across the planet, humanity's perception shifted. Memories, knowledge, rearranged, exposed, altered. The test had begun. The golden light swept across the Earth, invisible yet inescapable. Every human, rich or poor, young or old, powerful or powerless, felt their minds unravel. For Daniel, the sensation was overwhelming. He gasped, gripping the table as visions flooded his thoughts. He saw ancient wars, unspeakable cruelty, moments of betrayal and greed. But then, flashes of greatness, acts of compassion, scientific breakthroughs, selfless sacrifices. Humanity's entire history played before his eyes. In the bunker, chaos erupted. Advisors, generals, even the president clutched their heads, whispering, screaming, or sobbing as they relived the truth of human nature. Dr. Wright's voice trembled. They're forcing us to see ourselves as they do. Across the world, people collapsed in the streets. Some wept in guilt. Others stood in awe at humanity's resilience. And then, as suddenly as it began, the light faded. The tribunal's voice returned, reverberating through every mind. You have been tested. Your knowledge is vast, but your wisdom is conflicted. Daniel's heart pounded. Was that a pass or fail? The rings of the tribunal shifted, preparing the next phase. The second test, unity. A new pulse of energy shot forth, not toward Earth, but into deep space. Seconds later, alarms blared in every major city. The sky split open once more as a new fleet appeared. Not the Xerthians, not the luminous beings. These ships were dark, jagged, unnatural, predatory. and they were coming straight for Earth. The tribunal spoke once more. Your world will now face an external threat. Stand together or fall divided. The test had begun. The Black Fleet descended swiftly, cutting through the void like predators scenting wounded prey. Their ships were unlike anything humanity had ever seen, twisted structures of obsidian and shifting darkness, absorbing all light around them. Daniel's hands trembled over the keyboard as he stared at the incoming threat. Who are they? Dr. Wright's voice was barely a whisper. The tribunal never said we'd be fighting alone. Then, a new message appeared on the global network, not from Earth, but from the Zerthians. We have fought these creatures before. They are the Khazir, destroyers of civilizations. You cannot face them alone. The bunker erupted into frantic debate. Generals argued over tactics. World leaders called for emergency summits. Scientists desperately tried to analyze the enemy fleet. Then a message appeared on every screen across the planet. This is not just a battle, it is a test. The tribunal had made their intentions clear. If humanity failed to unite, the Khazir would not stop at Earth. The president stood, his voice firm. Open a global channel. Within seconds, his face was broadcast to billions. People of Earth, we have no time for old grudges. Today, we fight together or we die divided. For the first time in history, nations that once stood as rivals formed a single fleet. Ships from every superpower, advanced prototypes long hidden, even civilian freighters, all armed and ready. Then, the unexpected happened. The Zerthians sent reinforcements. Glowing rifts tore through the sky as their warships emerged, forming a defensive line alongside Earth's forces. Daniel exhaled, gripping the console. This is it, humanity's trial. The Khazir fleet charged forward, and Earth's first true war for survival began. The moment the Khazir fleet breached Earth's defense perimeter, the battle erupted in a storm of fire and chaos. Orbital defense stations opened fire first, unleashing blazing torrents of plasma. Earth's newly united fleet followed, a mix of human and Zerthian ships rushing forward like a tidal wave. Daniel watched the screens in horror as the Khazir ships absorbed some of the energy attacks, their black holes twisting and reshaping like living nightmares. This isn't working, a panicked voice shouted in the bunker. Then the Khazir counterattacked. Jagged beams of dark energy ripped through human warships, tearing them apart as if reality itself was unraveling. The first wave of Earth's forces was decimated in seconds. But then, something changed. The Zerthian warships adapted, their energy signatures shifting. Their weapons resonated at a different frequency, and when they fired again, the Khazir ships shattered like glass. Dr. Wright's eyes widened. They've fought them before. They know how to kill them. A desperate message flashed across the fleet's command network. Synchronize weapons to Zerthian frequencies. Within moments, Earth's ships adjusted. Their next barrage tore through the enemy like fire through dry grass. For the first time, the Khazir hesitated. Daniel clenched his fists. We can win this. But then the tribunal spoke once more, its voice cutting through the battle like a divine decree. Unity has been tested. One final trial remains. Above the battlefield, the rings of the tribunal aligned for the third time. And then a new tier in space opened. Something massive began to emerge. Something far older, far more powerful than the Khazir. Humanity's true test was just beginning. The battlefield fell into a brief, haunting silence as the rift in space widened. What emerged was beyond comprehension. A colossal entity, larger than any ship ever built, descended from the void. Its form was not metal nor organic. It was pure energy, shifting and folding in impossible ways. Every screen flickered, every sensor malfunctioned. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. What is that? Dr. Wright's hand shook as he read the Zerthian data stream, his voice barely above a whisper. It's the Arbiter. The tribunal's voice echoed once more, but this time it felt different, as if it were no longer addressing just Earth, but all sentient life present. The final trial, redemption. The Arbiter unfolded, its form splitting into countless radiant fragments, each one pulsing with unfathomable power. A single thought pierced into every mind in the system. Show us that you are more than war. Daniel's heart pounded. More than war? What does that mean? We're in the middle of a battle. Then something terrifying happened. The Khazir ships, those monstrous invaders, froze. Their weapons dimmed. Their jagged hulls softened, no longer absorbing light but reflecting it. They were changing. They were surrendering. A surge of confusion spread across the battlefield. Humanity's forces, the Xerthians, even the tribunal itself seemed to hesitate. The Arbiter's voice rang once more. A species cannot be judged by its ability to destroy, but by its ability to forgive. Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. The final test was not to win the war, but to choose mercy. And humanity had only seconds to decide. The battlefield stood still, ships frozen in place, weapons idle, as the weight of the final trial pressed upon every soul. Daniel's mind raced. The Khazir, the merciless destroyers, the nightmare that had torn through civilizations, now hung in silence, their ships no longer predatory, but waiting. Dr. Wright's voice broke the tension. They're giving us a choice. The president, still connected to the global channel, clenched his jaw. After all they've done, after the billions lost, they expect us to forgive? A general slammed his fist on the table. They're monsters. We finish them now while we have the chance. But Daniel saw something on the data stream, something strange. The Khazir's energy signatures were shifting, mirroring the Arbiter's essence. Their ships were not just shutting down, they were transforming. They were part of the test all along, Daniel realized. The tribunal never intended for us to destroy them. They wanted to see if we would break the cycle. A deep silence filled the bunker. The president looked around the room. What happens if we fail this test? No one spoke. No one needed to. The tribunal had made it clear. This was the final judgment. If humanity chose vengeance, it would prove that war was its only truth. But if they chose mercy, Daniel took a deep breath and spoke into the global command channel. Stand down. A moment passed, then another, and then the entire Earth fleet powered down its weapons. A blinding golden light erupted from the Arbiter, washing over the battlefield. The Khazir ships disintegrated, not in destruction, but in rebirth. Their jagged forms melted into streams of radiant energy, ascending into the tribunal's rings. A final message resonated through every mind on Earth. You have broken the cycle. You are worthy. And just like that, the tribunal vanished. The war was over. Humanity had passed. The sky above Earth returned to darkness. The tribunal's presence now nothing more than a fading whisper in the cosmos. Daniel let out a shaky breath, his hands still trembling over the console. It was over. All around the world, people stared at their screens in stunned silence. The greatest war in human history had ended not with bloodshed, but with mercy. Dr. Wright collapsed into a chair, exhaling deeply. We did it. The president turned to his staff, his voice quiet yet firm. Send a global message. Let the world know humanity has passed the trial. But even as celebrations erupted across cities, a lingering question remained. Daniel's gaze drifted to the sky. What happens now? The Xerthians, their mission complete, began to withdraw. Their leader, a towering figure of light, appeared on the main screen. You have proven yourselves, but understand this, passing the test is only the beginning. The transmission flickered, revealing a map of the universe, filled with thousands, millions of other civilizations. You are no longer alone. A hushed silence filled the bunker. Dr. Wright's eyes widened. They weren't just testing us, they were preparing us. The president straightened, realization dawning on him. For what? The Xerthian leader's expression darkened. For what comes next? And then, without another word, the Xerthian fleet vanished into the void. Daniel clenched his fists, staring at the vast, endless stars. Humanity had survived its trial. A far greater journey awaited. The days that followed were filled with celebration and uncertainty. The world had changed overnight. Humanity was no longer just an isolated species lost in the cosmos. But with this newfound place among the stars came questions. Who else was out there? What challenges awaited beyond the tribunal's test? Daniel sat at his desk in NASA's headquarters, scrolling through endless reports. The Xerthians had left behind a single transmission, encoded with coordinates far beyond any known star system. Dr. Wright leaned over his shoulder. They want us to go there. Daniel exhaled. But why? Across the world, governments scrambled to decipher the meaning of humanity's next step. Military leaders urged caution, while scientists saw this as the greatest opportunity in human history. The United Nations called for an emergency summit. For the first time, every nation sat at the same table, not as enemies, but as a single species. A vote was cast. The decision: humanity would go. A new mission was announced, Project Horizon, an expedition unlike any before. A fleet of Earth's most advanced ships would be sent into deep space, following the Zerthians' coordinates. Daniel, having played a pivotal role in uncovering the truth, was chosen to be part of the crew. As he stood before the massive ship being constructed, a vessel named Odyssey, he felt a sense of awe. This was the beginning of something far greater than himself. Humanity had been tested. Now it was time to explore. The construction of the Odyssey moved at an unprecedented pace. With the combined efforts of the world's greatest minds, reverse-engineered Zerthian technology was integrated into its systems. It was more than just a ship. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity was ready. As Daniel walked through the gleaming corridors of the vessel, he felt the weight of history pressing down on him. "This is it," he murmured. The first step into the unknown. Dr. Wright, now the lead scientific officer for the mission, appeared beside him. "Nervous?" Daniel chuckled. "Wouldn't be human if I wasn't." The launch day arrived. A global audience watched in silence. The world held its breath as the countdown began. 3, 2, 1. The Odyssey roared to life. As it broke free from Earth's atmosphere, Daniel peered out the viewport. The blue planet shrank behind them, replaced by the vast, endless void of space. And then they activated the Zerthian drive. Space around them folded. Stars stretched, light warped, and in an instant, they were somewhere else. Before them lay a system unknown to mankind. But as the ship's sensors scanned the first planet, alarms blared. Life signs detected. Not just one, millions. Daniel exchanged a stunned look with Dr. Wright. "We're not just explorers anymore. We're visitors." The Odyssey drifted silently above the alien world, its sensors working furiously to analyze the massive life readings below. Daniel stared at the planet's surface, a vast landscape of shimmering blue forests, rivers of glowing gold, and colossal structures that defied all logic. "This isn't just some primitive life," Dr. Wright whispered. "This is a civilization." Then, a signal. A pulse of energy erupted from the planet's surface, directed straight at them. The ship's AI immediately responded. "Incoming transmission. Unknown language detected." The crew froze. Daniel's heart pounded. This was first contact. The screen flickered to life, and suddenly, they saw them. Towering beings, their bodies woven with light and shadow, their eyes holding the weight of centuries. Then, against all odds, the transmission shifted. English. "You are not the first to arrive." A chill ran down Daniel's spine. What does that mean?" Dr. Wright frantically pulled up old tribunal records, his face paled. "There were other species before us, others that passed the test." The alien figure continued. "Some chose wisely, others did not." The screen zoomed out, revealing something hidden beneath the planet's surface. Wreckage, massive ruins of ancient starships, crumbling civilizations lost to time. Daniel clenched his fists. If they passed the test, then what happened to them? The alien's gaze darkened. "Your trial is far from over." The bridge of the Odyssey fell into a heavy silence. Daniel's mind raced. If others had passed the tribunal's test, yet their civilizations lay in ruin, what were they truly being prepared for? Dr. Wright's fingers trembled over the controls. "Ask them, what happened to the others?" The alien's gaze remained steady. They faced the second trial. Daniel's breath caught. Another test? A low hum filled the ship as the transmission shifted. Suddenly, a star map appeared marking distant worlds, some glowing brilliantly, others dark and lifeless. "You stand at the crossroads," the being continued. "A choice remains." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The tribunal had tested humanity's morality. But this felt different. "What kind of trial is this?" Daniel demanded. The alien's expression was unreadable. one that determines not your worthiness, but your survival. Outside, the planet's surface shimmered, revealing massive structures rising from the ground, gateways to something unknown. The Odyssey's AI suddenly flashed red. Alert, unidentified energy signatures detected. Daniel's stomach twisted as shadows moved within the gates. Something was waiting. Dr. Wright whispered, "This isn't just exploration anymore." Daniel gritted his teeth. "No, it's war." The crew braced as the alien delivered its final words. "Your true test begins now." What happens next? Will humanity survive the second trial? Subscribe for part 3. Like, share, and stay tuned. Part 3. The Truth Revealed. The crew of the Odyssey stood frozen as the alien's words echoed through the ship. Your true test begins now. Daniel's pulse pounded in his ears. What could be worse than the tribunal's trial? Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. Warning, energy anomaly detected. The shimmering gateways on the planet's surface began to pulse, releasing eerie waves of distortion. Something was coming through. Dr. Wright's voice trembled. This energy signature, it's not from this universe." Before anyone could react, a massive pitch-black vessel emerged from the largest gate. It was nothing like the elegant Xerthian crafts or the glowing structures of the tribunal. This ship was wrong. Its surface shifted unnaturally, like a living organism, and the space around it twisted as if reality itself rejected its presence. "My God," Daniel whispered, "what are we looking at?" The alien figure on the transmission lowered its head. "The ones who failed." A chill ran down Daniel's spine. "You mean they were once like you, but when the second trial came, they made the wrong choice. Now they are something else, something lost." The ship trembled as the dark vessel turned toward them. It had noticed them. Then a transmission. Not words, not language, a feeling. A wave of hunger, despair, doubt, and endless suffering crashed through Daniel's mind, overwhelming him with a cold, ancient terror. Dr. Wright screamed, collapsing to the ground. The crew clutched their heads, eyes wide with horror, and then a voice, a whisper inside their very thoughts. "Join us." The dark ship moved, space distorting around it. The second trial had begun. What is the true nature of the second trial? Can humanity escape its fate? Subscribe for part 4. Like, share, and stay tuned. Part 4, The Point of No Return. The dark vessel loomed before the Odyssey, its unnatural form pulsating like a living nightmare. Daniel struggled to breathe. The voice, that horrifying whisper, still echoed in his mind. "Join us." Dr. Wright gasped for air, his hands trembling. It's not speaking. It's invading our thoughts." The ship's AI blared another alert. Warning, unknown energy field penetrating defenses. Crew, psychological stability compromised. Daniel's vision blurred as the voice dug deeper into his mind, pulling at his very soul. Memories flashed before his eyes. His childhood, his family, everything that made him human. And then, for just a second, a glimpse of something else. A world covered in shadows. Cities reduced to nothing but dust. Beings once proud and powerful, now enslaved to a force beyond comprehension. The ones who failed the second trial had not been destroyed. They had been consumed. A desperate voice cut through the chaos. "Daniel." Dr. Wright was gripping his shoulder, his eyes filled with terror. "We have to move. Now." The dark ship began to shift, its hull opening like a monstrous maw. Something inside was staring at them, waiting. Daniel slammed his hand onto the control panel. "Full power! Get us out of here!" The Odyssey's engines flared to life, propelling them away at impossible speed. For a brief moment, Daniel felt relief, until the ship's sensors screamed, "Multiple energy signatures detected, intercept course confirmed." On the monitors, new anomalies formed in space. More dark vessels, hundreds of them, emerging like predators, drawn to fresh prey. Dr. Wright's voice cracked. "They were waiting for us." Daniel clenched his fists. This wasn't just a test. He stared at the endless swarm of horrors blocking their escape. It was a trap. Can the Odyssey escape? What horrifying fate awaits humanity? Subscribe for part 5, like, share, and stay tuned. Part 5, The Escape Gamble. The Odyssey raced through the void, its engines burning at maximum power. The dark fleet of failed civilizations pursued relentlessly, their monstrous forms twisting through space like shadows given life. A pilot shouted. Daniel gritted his teeth, his hands gripping the control panel. "Find us a way out!" Dr. Wright frantically scanned the star charts. "There's a nearby singularity, a collapsed star. If we slingshot around it, we might be able to shake them." Daniel hesitated. A black hole. A last-ditch maneuver. A gamble. The ship's AI blared another warning. Hostile energy spike detected. A massive shock wave erupted from the lead dark vessel. The unnatural energy surged forward, warping reality itself as it moved. The Odyssey shook violently, its shields barely holding. The crew screamed as time seemed to stretch and distort around them. Daniel shouted over the alarms, "Do it! Plot the course!" The engines roared as the Odyssey plunged toward the singularity. The gravitational pull strained the ship's hull as they reached unimaginable speeds. Behind them, the dark fleet hesitated. For the first time, they did not pursue. Dr. Wright's eyes widened. "They won't follow us." Daniel's stomach twisted. Why? Then he saw it. Through the viewport, the singularity shifted, and beyond it, something massive loomed. Not a black hole, a gateway, a colossal structure, hidden in the cosmic shadows, pulsing with ancient energy. The dark fleet wasn't afraid of the black hole. They were afraid of what lay beyond it. The Odyssey's sensors went haywire. Unknown energy signatures, massive gravitational distortions, and something else. A signal, faint, ancient, and human. Daniel's blood ran cold. There's something on the other side. Dr. Wright's voice barely came out. Or someone. The ship's trajectory locked in. There was no turning back. The Odyssey plunged into the event horizon and vanished. Where has the Odyssey gone? What is the mysterious signal? Subscribe for Part 6. Like, share, and stay tuned. Part 6, Beyond the Horizon. Darkness. For a brief moment, there was nothing. No light, no sound. Just a crushing void stretching infinitely in all directions. Then a pulse. The Odyssey emerged from the abyss, alarms blaring, the ship tumbling wildly as it adjusted to new gravitational forces. Daniel gasped for air. "Status report." A navigator's voice trembled. I don't know where we are." The view screens flickered to life, revealing a realm unlike anything they had ever seen. A vast expanse of broken planets shattered into colossal ruins, floating in an endless sea of glowing nebula. Derelict ships, thousands of them, drifted through the void, some so ancient they looked fossilized, others eerily intact. Dr. Wright whispered in horror. "This is a graveyard." Daniel's heart pounded. Had they escaped? Or fallen into something worse? Then the signal returned. A human distress call. Weak, faint, but undeniably real. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. There had been no records of any human expeditions this far. Daniel clenched his fists. "Track it!" The ship's AI pinpointed the source, a ruined space station, half buried within the remains of a colossal alien vessel. As the Odyssey moved closer, something shifted in the wreckage. Dr. Wright swallowed hard. We're not alone. A flash of movement. Something was watching them. Then a message appeared on the screen. "You were never meant to find this place." Who sent the message? What horrors await on the station? Subscribe for Part 7. Like, share, and stay tuned. Part 7. The Forbidden Truth. Silence filled the bridge of the Odyssey. The message on the screen flickered, as if struggling against an unseen force. You were never meant to find this place. Daniel's breath hitched. Who sent this? Dr. Wright's fingers trembled over the console. The signal, it's coming from inside the station. The distress beacon continued pulsing, weak but steady. Someone or something was still inside. We have to go in. The crew hesitated. The ruined station loomed before them, its exterior scarred and ancient, as if it had been lost for millennia. But that was impossible. Humanity had never been here before. Had they? Daniel exhaled sharply. Prepare a landing team. The airlock doors hissed open as the away team stepped into the void. Their boots echoed against the metal floors, dust swirling around them. Inside, the station was dead. No lights, no movement, just cold silence. A whisper, not through the comms, not through the air, inside their minds. Dr. Wright gasped. Did you hear that? Daniel nodded slowly. He had. A faint, ghostly voice, calling their names. Then the station's emergency lights flickered to life, revealing shadows moving in the corridor ahead. The distress beacon's source was close. Then the ship's AI spoke. Warning, unknown entity detected. A door slammed shut behind them, and the voice returned. You shouldn't be here. Who or what is inside the station? What dark secret has been buried for millennia? Subscribe for part 8, like, share, and stay tuned.